All right, hilarious. Are we feeling all right over there? Yeah, you good? Okay. So, annotatio grammaticae. All right. Notes of what type? What are we talking about? Grammar. Okay. So next to it, I left a blank space in your notes. What I would like you to write. Yeah. All right. So the topic of today's discussion is verbs, i.e., person. Person. I'm because I'm 5 million times your age. I don't know. Okay, so just as a quick review, we're going to, well, kind of review, but kind of not. We're going to talk about verb characteristics. So when we're looking at a verb in a Latin passage and I say, parse this word, does anyone know what I'm asking? Parse this word. Maximus, what am I asking?
Declension, masculine or feminine, singular or plural.
Good. Okay, so you just gave me all these different characteristics, but characteristics for nouns, right? So with nouns, you don't have to write this, but the characteristics are gender, right? Masculine, feminine, or neuter. Number, singular and plural. And case, is it nominative or accusative, right? Eh? Yes.
It's the word characteristic number. It's like singular or plural, and like which is it? Like is it the normal verb? Is it the infinitive?
You're on the right track. You're on the right track. So the first characteristic we're going to talk about is, like Tim said, it's going to be number. Okay. So number, our choices, which we're going to write in the line next to it. Is it singular? Or is it plural? Okay. And for this, you can abbreviate to SG, means singular, and PL means plural. So if you're like parsing something for me, you can write SG or PL and I'll know what you mean. Just make sure it's legible. All right, so that's the first characteristic. The second characteristic is person, which is what you have written on the top of the notes. It's the new thing. This is going to open up your world, guys. A couple thousand years old. All right, so person, my options are first person, second, kind of, yeah, second person, and third person. No, there is not. Okay, so I'm going to explain it as follows. I'm actually going to encroach on the line beneath to kind of flesh this out. All right, so first person, my choices are I or we in English, right? So think about it this way. If you, we're not going to need the third line for now. No. So you can just do it as I'm doing it. Well, yeah. Yeah, so the third line is tense, but we're not going to talk about tense right now. We're just working in the present tense. Okay. So first person is I or we. Second person, that, yes, but we're not considering it for the moment, just for the moment. Okay, second person is you or y'all. Okay, I will accept y'all. I will personally accept y'all, even though it's not English grammatically correct. Okay, I need to know that you know that it's plural. So in order to do that, you could be plural, yeah. But yeah, so when we're like to show precision, I want to know that you know what it is. So like, just show me, do you know the difference? Okay, so don't use, like, y'all is okay. I'm okay with y'all. All right, third person. We've got he, she, it, or they. All right, so if you want to think of it, right, Hilarious taking notes so copiously. Hilarious. Yo, Tim. Hello. Yeah, Scribe. You wrote he, she, it, and they? Yeah? You did? I thought so. I didn't see that pen moving. Okay, so think of it this way. Think of it this way. I myself am included, like my perspective is here, like very close to myself. So that's first person. Now, if I'm talking to you, right, you're still close enough that I can talk to you, but you're still removed away from me, right? So that's second person. Now, third person, we're going to gossip about Mr. Brumler's class down there. He, she, it, and they, right? They're far enough away, like even further than you, that it's third person. So the higher the number of person, the farther away the perspective is. There is not a fourth person. Right? So the way that I've taught kids to remember it in the past is I'm number 1, 2 is you, 3 is he, she, or it, which is like a weird thing. It is elementary schoolish, right? Question.
Did you ever figure out, the question I asked you before, is that like, it can be that in Latin, they is only used for multiple people, but what if it's someone like you see someone far away, you don't know what their gender is? Could you say that?
Or it.
In Latin, yeah, or it.
Ooh.
It is fully.
That I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's interesting. I haven't read anything where that would be, yeah, because well, think of it this way, right? Like, because gender doesn't necessarily have to do with the innate gender of the thing itself. So, like, for example, the Latin word for table, mensa, mensae, right? It's a feminine noun, which means that, like, the word is feminine. That doesn't mean that the table is a girl. So, like, for example, the word, like, let's say I see somebody far off in the distance, right? And I say, the stranger. The word itself has a prescribed gender. I don't actually know what that word would be, but it has a gender. So it wouldn't be like we're figuring out what the gender of that person is and applying it. That word already has a gender. All Latin words have a prescribed gender. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the best answer I can give. Okay, Maximus.
You said like, if we're labeling a name for you just do it by like what gender the person is, right?
No, you do it by what gender the noun itself is. So, for example, let's talk about names for a hot second. Sorry, I'm going to scroll down here. I really left myself no room. So, Kikero. Names are proper nouns, by the way. Okay, so Kikero, Kikeronis is a masculine noun. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the name Cicero, like the guy Cicero, is a masculine dude. It just means that the word itself is masculine, right? In the same way that, like, my name, Sabina, Sabini, it's a first declension noun. It's feminine in nature, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the bearer of that name is a girl, right? So the word itself and the gender of the actual thing are separate. Yes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. So,
So a man could be named Sabina.
well, that's the thing. It would be a separate word because there is a name Sabinus, Sabini. Okay, and that word is masculine in nature. Okay, so it's a little weird. Like, you have words that have male and female equivalents, but they're not the same word, right? Similarly, like you would see serwa applies to a female slave, where servus applies to a masculine slave. Or amica is a girlfriend, not necessarily like romantically, and amicus is a masculine, a boyfriend, like a male friend, not necessarily romantic, right? Okay, so words have innate gender. It doesn't necessarily have to do with the gender. Sometimes it corresponds and lines up, but like for example, the word for oak in Latin, I think, is quercus.
It's like, couldn't now be neuter?
Couldn't what?
Couldn't be neuter?
Nouns can be neuter, but we haven't gotten there yet.
I think the word stranger, like, so I think like in that and like these words will be neuter instead of like having a definite thing.
Neuter is a gender. Neuter is considered a gender in Latin. In Latin, it is. There are neuter nouns. We just haven't gotten to them yet. But do what?
So maybe like say stranger, is that be neuter?
Let me see. Let me see what that word is.
You should read it.
So interestingly, there is a word, adventor, adventoris, like someone who's visiting, but you don't necessarily, it could also mean stranger. It's a masculine noun. So even if the person who's visiting is a female, you would still, it doesn't mean that like the person visiting is masculine. It just means that the word is masculine. Well, that's speculation, so we're not going to touch that one. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so does everyone kind of understand the idea behind person? Right, so if you're included in that, like I and we, you're still in a group, right? So that's just the difference. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to fill out this chart using the parameters that we just talked about, except for tense. Okay, so in this column, we're going to write person. So fill it out with me, s'il vous plaît. Silwana, are you sleeping? That would be Madeline. I don't know why I called you Madeline. It's Madeline. Okay, so write it along with me. First person, second person, and third person. Okay, now up above at the top, we're going to write singular. Yeah, I suppose. If you want to cut corners. Achilleus est ignavus. Is he cowardly? Is he lazy? We don't know. Okay. So up this little bar up at the top here, we're going to fill that in. We're going to call these personal endings. That's what this chart is going to be. Okay. Now let's go ahead and write our personal endings, but let's do them in a fun color because fun. No, let's do them in green. That sounds exciting.
Mint green sounds like the most boring color.
What? Okay. All right, so the first person singular ending is O with a macron above it. Okay, and that means I. Okay. The next one, second person singular, is S. Yeah. There's only one what? What? I just wrote it right next to it. Like it's okay that there's like not extra spots. Right, so like S, I'm going to write what S means. S means you, just like that. Does that make sense? Okay. Third person singular is T. Okay, and T means he or she or it. Okay, now we're going to move on to the plural side of things. Okay, first person plural is mus, M-U-S. Okay, and that means we. Next is tis, T-I-S, which means y'all. Okay, and finally we've gotten to nt, which means they. Now you've seen 2 of these 6 endings before. You've seen T, yep, conspicit, and you've seen NT, conspicunt, right? So these endings just pop on the back of verbs to change the person who's doing the action indicated in the word. Okay. NT is they.
So the person of the verb doesn't correspond to the noun who's doing the action.
Well, here's the fun part about Latin. In English, you need a subject and a verb to make it a complete sentence, correct? Okay. In Latin, though, you only need one word to technically have a sentence. I could just say, amo. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. But, like, it's very reductive. Or, for example, okay, so I cook. Kokwo. That's a full sentence. You don't necessarily need a separate noun to be your subject because it's the word ending. It's pre-programmed into every single verb. The subject is pre-programmed into every single verb. And it's those endings, exactly. Yes, unless you want to specify. Right, and that's why you learned some of those words in our vocab list. What's the Latin word for I? Ego. So if I wanted to emphasize it and make sure that you know that I am the one doing the cooking, I might say ego quoquo, but it's not necessary. Roman authors don't often do that unless they're trying to draw your attention to something. It would just be quoquo. You could say ego quoquo, but it's superfluous, unnecessary. Okay. Yes, you're pointing at me. What? Oh, did you have a hand raised? Oh, what? Were you like Heiling Hitler? What are you doing? Kikero? All right, yes, 10. Oh my gosh, Quintus. Ignore the statue. Ignore it. Okay. Now. Oh, you do?
Yeah. So with Coco and other things like that, since it being the I, since you said it's pre-programmed into it, could you line that up with the subject just to make sure it checks out?
Well, here's the thing. No, you are. What you could do. What you might see. This is a little complicated, so I'm going to try my best to simplify. Let's say I want to say that I, an angry woman, cook. Right, so I would say ego, irata femina, right? Those have to be nominative because they're the subject. Kokwo. I, an angry woman, cook. So it would line up with the verb, but really the in irata femina is just kind of modifying ego. Yeah, so it's extra stuff. Usually you'll see subjects with third person, and that's kind of it, really. Yeah. What? For. Okay, you're. Okay, we're gonna talk about that right now, actually. Okay. So let's take a verb. No. Huh? Yes. Okay, so copy down with me, please. Paro, parare. You've seen this word before. Parawi, paratus. Okay, yes, it means to prepare. Okay, now. Before I teach you how to form this, I'd like you to practice just reading it. So I'm going to give you the chart. Let's fill it out like we did before. So this is first person. I'm sorry. It's stupid me. Sorry, this is first person. Second person. Third person. Okay, and then this column is singular. And this column is plural. Okay. So I'm going to give you the stem and you're going to tell me the ending. How do I say I prepare? What's the word going to end in? O. Okay, and this means, and we'll write the translation next to it. I prepare. Okay. How do I say you prepare? What ending is going to go here? Paras, just an S. All right, you just pop that on. Okay. Para plus what gives me he or she or it prepares? Parat with a T. Okay. I don't know. We're just doing grammar for grammar's sake. Okay. Para plus what means we prepare? Paramus. Good. Para plus what means y'all prepare? Tis. Okay. All right, and finally, para plus what means they prepare? Parant. Okay, so you see how, sorry, we're not going to use that color because it's, you see how each of these end with our personal endings? Okay, so the subject is technically already pre-programmed into the verb, and you don't necessarily need a separate noun to express that. All right, now, there's a little chant that goes along with this. I'm going to teach it to you. O-S-T-M-U-S-T-I-S-N-T. O or M means I, S means you, T means he, she, or it. Mus means we, tis means y'all, nt means they. Okay, that's going to help you remember the endings, the personal endings. All right, so we'll take it slowly. Do you guys want to try it with me? Okay, well, this will be the pace. This will be the pace. O-S-T-M-U-S-T-I-S-N-T. O or M means I. S means you. T means he, she, or it. Mus means we. Tis means y'all. Nt means they. Okay, let's try that again without the clapping. All right. O-S-T-M-U-S-T-I-S-N-T. O or M means I. S means you. T means he, she, or it. Mus means we. Tis means y'all. Nt means they. Okay. So you see how we're just kind of going through the endings? All right. Aside from the first one, right? I said O or M means I. Don't worry about the M right now. Just say it and you'll eventually learn what that means. Okay. So O or M means I. S means you. T means he, she, or it. Mus means we. Tis means y'all. And it means they. Okay, so you see how that kind of just goes through the endings? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, let's try it one more time. O-S-T-M-U-S-T-I-S-N-T. O or M means I. S means you. T means he, she, or it. Mus means we. Tis means y'all. Nt means they. All right, I don't see everybody's mouth moving, though, unfortunately, which means we've got some slackers in the room. And what do we say to slackers? That's what we say to slackers. Okay, let's do it all together. I want to see everybody's mouths moving, even if you're just mouthing the words and not actually using your vocal cords. All right, one more time. OSTMUSTISNT. O or M means I. S means you. T means he, she, or it. Mus means we. Tis means y'all. Nt means they. Okay, you guys are getting better at that. All right. Your homework for this evening is to study this chart. Study this chart. Okay. You're going to have to fill it in from scratch. No, just this top one with the personal endings. I'll write that on the portal so you know what to study. It's just the top one. So I need to know that you know, but you have to know like where to put the like first person, second person, third person, singular, plural. Yeah, so I'm going to give you this. It's going to be completely blank and you just rewrite this out for me. Okay? That's your homework. So study that chart.